Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guide. This is episode number 2 of the bonus series on the big the bonus series that we are doing in our Unreal Engine. And in the last video we kind of added like a health bar for the enemy. So if I hit play and there is an enemy and I go and shoot him, then you can see this health bar appears and it's always facing me, and I can kind of shoot him until he dies, and that's awesome. And we have got that. And by the way, you can see that enemy standing in that corner cannot is not attacking me because he cannot see me from that far. So if I go a bit like closer, then he will be able to see me. So anyways, now we have got this done, and what we are actually going to do now is I want to change one thing here, which is that currently we have got only one type of enemies which kind of chase us around and try to attack us. But I think that we should have some different kinds of enemies as well. And the one that I am trying to actually do is kind of an enemy where it basically shoots bullets from far away to the player so that he gets damaged, and basically it shoots projectiles. So how are we going to implement that? Now in order to do that, what we are going to do is we are going to basically right click, and I'm actually going to just copy my enemy and paste it, and I'm going to rename this to projectile enemy, let's say. Okay, let me open that up, and I'm going to close these. Okay, now this works, and for now I'm just going to go ahead and change this cube to a I guess cone. I'm only doing it because so that we know for now what type of enemy this is, and we'll solve the other stuff later. And let me just scale it down, and yeah, that's a bit better. And like 30 on the X, no, not really X. We want to change it on the Z. I'm going to make it 50 or 70, I guess. Let me say 65. Okay, so now we have got this, and I'm going to move it a bit forward, not that much, just like 45, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, so we have got this, and this basically will help us distinguish between the enemies. We'll add the proper model later. So first, what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to leave everything as is, but I'm going to change this movement and damage. I'm going to over this up, and we are going to change this basically. So we don't want to actually move for this enemy. This enemy will be just a static enemy, and it will it will just like attack from far away. So let me just go ahead and say let me just go ahead and like go here and delete all of this, and then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this function which we have got, basically like that. And by the way, you can delete this AI perception now. The reason I am doing it is because we do not want to basically have any scene player thing here. We want to, for this enemy, projectile enemy, it will automatically start attacking the player once it recognizes it. So we don't need any of that. You can just delete those things. And yeah, we have got this working, and the rest of it we can basically keep it at that. And by the way, I'm going to remove this. Oh, okay. Let me just compile and go under construction. Like in event graph, and I'm going to delete this and delete that, and then I'm going to just hook it up to here so that we don't actually like print anything. And yeah, we have got that done. Alright, so what we want to do now is I'm actually going to change a couple of stuff here, but first of all let me go under movement and damage. And in here we have got a base damage, and this stuff which we are basically doing in a not so correct way, because we are basically doing this and then we are delaying, and then we are damaging currently nothing. Okay, show message log, what happened? Okay. All right, so we basically want to kind of shoot a projectile to the enemy, to the player. In order to do that, we actually need to have a projectile, which we don't have right now. So I'm going to create an actor here called projectile. Great. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under here, I'm going to go here, and I am going to just add a like sphere component in here, which adds a sphere kind of like this, and we are going to make it smaller because currently it's a bit too large. I'm going to make it 0.3 in size. Then we are going to add a component here called projectile movement. Now this is basically the kind of movement we need. So if I just put this in the scene and I kind of hit play right now, what you should see is that we have got, where was it now? All right, okay, let me just it's like on our left side. You can see it basically goes down for some reason, which is not really where it's supposed to go, but it is actually working because this projectile movement makes it like, you know, go forward, I guess. So yeah, we've got that. So we need to kind of make it different, but you can turn off the projectile gravity scale here so that you know, the projectile does not fall. And currently it's just standing here, but if I go here in the initial speed and I set it to something like 100, let's say 10, and then I set that max speed to something like 100, and I hit play, then what you should see is that this is moving ahead very slowly, and we can move it, make it move ahead at whatever speed we want. So yeah, that's awesome. So now we need to make the enemy spawn this instead of like it being spawned automatically. We don't want to place in the game, we want the enemy to spawn it. And I'm going to change this duration to 0.8. And what we are going to do is we are going to basically first of all I'm going to check. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go ahead and add a branch statement here. Now what this we are going to check is we are going to basically get our player character, not pawn, just character. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get use a function called distance. So get distance 2. You can put two actors in here and it will get the distance between them, and we'll put one like this, and for the other just put self, and this means that we'll get the distance between us. And you can put this between a I'm going to delete the scene player variable, and what you can do is you can take this and you can check if this is less than or equal to a particular amount, and the distance we are going to just put in here is something like let's say 300, I guess. Because this way it will only execute when it's a bit closer to the player. Alright, so now we have got this, and it's going to shoot after every 0.4 seconds because it only shoots when close. Actually we are going to make it 0.3, so it looks like kind of like a machine gun, I guess. So in here we need to actually do the shooting. Now if you go ahead and use spawn actor from class function and you just choose projectile class, sometimes my couple of things crash. Okay, so just choose like projectile, and for the return value you don't need to worry about that too much, and you can provide it with a transform. So for the transform, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add in a empty not really empty, like you can add whatever you want here, add in a scene object here. Now this basically is an empty object that you can use for determining stuff, and go in here and yeah, it's kind of just an empty object, nothing that will be visible, but it will allow us to choose this will basically be the position from which the actual thing will be spawned. By the way, you can see that I cannot get it to a perfect position between these, so in order to have a bit more control over you know, the snapping, you can go to and change the snap size to something like 5, and now we can put it right exactly in the like point of this thing cone, and we are going to put it here, and what we are going to do is we are going to go in here, and I'm going to go ahead and get scene, and I'm going to go ahead and say get world transform. You need to use get world transform, and you can just put this in here. Okay, compile that, and this is working. Now if I hit play, what you should see is that currently it's only spawning the other enemy, so we need to open up the enemy spawner, and we need to, for now we are just going to change this class to projectile enemy, if I can actually find it, projectile enemy. Okay, let me hit play now, and what you should see is that one of the projectile enemy spawns, and he's still facing the other way, and I go near him, then he starts like adding these, and these balls are going forward currently, not going anywhere else, and this is working, by the way. Oh, what's that? Okay, so you can see these are kind of looking a bit weird, but the idea is working, and we need to just make it you know, shoot towards the player always, and also need to make sure that by the way, this 300 limit seems to be a bit too much. We need to increase this to something like 1000, and by the way, you can see now that it is actually shooting correctly, but the balls are too slow, and we need to make them, you know, actually shoot towards the player. By the way, he can die just like normal. So yeah, now we need to change this mechanic and it will be working like it's supposed to. But that is something that we are going to do in the next video, because this video is kind of getting long. So I'm going to end this here and stay tuned for the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and also share this video with other people who want to learn Unreal Engine. And bye.